I'm Vinny Politan. Great to have you with us tonight here on Closing Arguments. You know, there's been a lot of talk recently in the news about free speech, right? Involving Elon Musk, Twitter, all of that. Let me just come out right now and say, I'm all in favor of free speech. I'm a journalist. That's what we do, right? First Amendment. But I'm also a lawyer, and I know that there are some limitations to free speech in the United States of America. You can't incite a riot with direct words, right? You can't do that. And you can't commit defamation. You can't lie about someone to harm them. So when you think about Amber Heard writing this op-ed in the Washington Post, the question really is she exercising free speech, or is it going to cost her $50 million and not be free at all, right? Johnny Depp is suing Amber Heard $50 million for, I believe, what she is going to argue was her exercise of free speech, talking about, you know, what has happened in her life. That's ultimately what this whole case is about. But what's really interesting, and Amber Heard and her team brought this up in their opening statement, is that Johnny Depp is never mentioned. I mean, where's Johnny in the op-ed? His name never appears. And arguably, it seems that Amber Heard and her team will be saying, well, it's not really about Johnny Depp. I don't know if you make that argument with a straight face to the jury. Maybe they will. Maybe the jury believes it. I think it's a dangerous place to go because we all know Johnny and Amber were married. We kind of know the timeline of everything, right? The love and the marriage between these two was real at one point, and then the breakup was very real as well. They were married for some time. The jury knows all about it. They know where they met. They know about the rum diaries. They know about the dating. They know about some of the fighting, and they ultimately know about the breakup and the divorce. So I think one thing this jury is going to look at, and I believe this will be an accusation, I think we heard it from Johnny Depp on the stand, that Amber Heard was trying to be sneaky in the way she wrote this op-ed. I'm not going to put his name in it, but everybody will know what we're talking about, right? And this is another issue. Like, how does the jury take that? Do they look at Amber Heard and say, really, you trying to pull a fast one on Johnny? You're trying to like write about him without really mentioning his name, but everybody's going to know? I mean, that again could make her look pretty bad in the eyes of the jury. And a lot of this stuff has come out during Johnny Depp's case. But then we get to the bottom line of this op-ed written by Amber Heard, and guess what? She didn't write it. She didn't even write it. It was written like by PR people. Are you kidding me? An op-ed about your life, and you didn't actually write it. What a development today. What a development inside the courtroom as this testimony gets in front of the jury. This whole thing is about Amber Heard penning, right? We always say penning the op-ed. When we learned today, I don't even know if she wrote a word of it. I mean, she told her story to some people. But take a listen to how this testimony went down and what this jury heard today about where this op-ed actually came from.
Ms. White said that she had arranged a meeting between Ms. Heard and representatives of our Women's Rights Project and our Reproductive Freedom Project. And Ms. Heard spoke with such clarity and expertise on issues of gender-based violence that she decided that she would be an appropriate person to ask to become an ACLU ambassador, and she did so.
He writes, I'd like your and Amber's thoughts on doing an op-ed in which she discusses the ways in which survivors of gender-based violence have been made less safe under the Trump administration and how people can take action. Why was the ACLU recommending that Amber write on that subject?
with Amber agreeing to be an ambassador and to work on women's rights issues, and in particular issues of gender-based violence, Jerry was coming up with specific things that were of significant policy importance to the ACLU that could be the subject matter of an op-ed written by Amber. It is often a decision has to be made when we're working with ambassadors or with other people who are speaking to the public, who does the first draft of the document. So it sounds here that Jerry is saying that that from Jess's conversation with Amber, we are moving forward with some kind of an op-ed, and that ACLU communications department staff members would be writing the first draft of it.
And to be clear, this next draft of the op-ed reflects changes that Robin Schulman made after she met in person with Amber Heard. Is that correct?
Correct.
She didn't write it. The first draft was written before she even met with anyone from the ACLU. I mean, what is this? What is it? And ultimately, you know, the jury is listening to all of this and wondering, I thought we were here because she wrote something, but she didn't write what she wrote? Could be confusing. Let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter, joining us live from Fairfax, Virginia tonight. Chanley, wow. I was expecting that, you know, she wrote something, maybe a first draft, and then got some help, and it's all good. But I'm getting the feeling she didn't write a word of this thing.
That's really what it sounds like. Now, there was testimony that she did share some of her personal experiences with these ACLU staffers who did conceive and draft and then placed this op-ed at this time. And there was testimony, Vinny, that the release of this op-ed was timed to be around her Aquaman premiere for more publicity of this op-ed when it was actually released in December 2018. Also, we learned that earlier versions of this op-ed made explicit references to her relationship with Johnny Depp. So it was specific to him, and that was huge for Depp's team because, again, her defense is that it doesn't name him, it doesn't defame him, he's the demise of his own career, and she has this First Amendment right to say what she wants about matters of public concern like domestic violence. But for this jury to hear from this ACLU general counsel that earlier versions explicitly mentioned Johnny Depp and then were edited out on the advice of her lawyers, that was big.
Yeah, because then it's ultimately about him. It's clearly about him. So this whole little thing we heard in the opening statement that his name isn't even mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, seems not genuine, right? That's the problem. You know, technically they don't name him, but genuinely it's about him. It seems obvious. Anything else from that witness we need to know about tonight?
Well, he also spent really the bulk of his pre-recorded deposition talking about the settlement agreement that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard reached when they were divorced and how she promised to donate half of her settlement, $3.5 million, to the ACLU. So there was a lot of back and forth on exactly how much she's given over the years. It totaled $1.3 million, Vinny, but she stopped making payments in 2018, and then once Johnny Depp filed this libel suit, completely quit making any payments, saying she had financial difficulties. So this was really to show the jury that she wasn't following through on the promise she made to give her settlement money to charity.
Okay, let's talk about Johnny Depp's bodyguard testifying today. What did the bodyguard have to say?
We heard from Malcolm Connolly, who testified via video inside the courtroom, another character with an accent where I felt sometimes I needed subtitles to understand what he was saying in the courtroom, but he received at times many laughs from this gallery as he talked about his personal observations of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's relationship. He's known Johnny Depp for around 25 years, and he mentioned several incidents before this jury that he witnessed firsthand. Amber Heard throwing a lighter at Johnny Depp, throwing a soda can at Johnny Depp, and especially the infamous finger incident. All that aftermath was testified to by Malcolm Connolly, who painted Amber Heard as the aggressor, the one yelling, and no injuries to Amber Heard after any of these alleged abuse incidents, Vinny. But there was one moment where he actually got a couple smiles from the jury during his testimony. Let's watch.
He's not out of his head. He's perfectly functioning. I mean, you can talk about anything, any conversation you want to talk about. He's neither up nor down with that, you know. He really isn't. He's got a very high tolerance for any substance, Johnny, you know. I would say so, you know. I think Jack Sparrow's more drunk than Johnny Depp, to be honest.
And then, of course, Johnny Depp smiled as well. So there was another moment where he was on cross-examination, Vinny, and he's asked about whether or not he witnessed Johnny Depp urinating in the foyer when he went to retrieve him after he lost his finger. He denied that, and that also got a couple smiles from the jury.
And also Johnny Depp's driver, or his executive chauffeur, I think is his official title.
Right. He also told this jury about his personal observations. His purpose was more surrounding the April 21st, 2016 incident that caused the couple to separate. And it was Amber Heard's birthday celebration. Johnny Depp was several hours late to that celebration, which caused Amber Heard to be upset. She alleges abuse that night from Johnny Depp, but his testimony told the jury that he observed no injuries to Amber Heard. The next day, he drove her to Coachella, where she partied with her friends all weekend long. Let's listen to the part, though, that he says Amber Heard told him on the way to Coachella.
And did you have any discussions with Miss Heard on the way to Coachella that evening?
We had a conversation pertaining to the surprise she left in the boss's bed prior to leaving the apartment.
And when you refer to the surprise in the boss's bed, what are you referring to?
The defecation.
And what did Miss Heard say about the defecation in Mr. Depp's bed?
A horrible practical joke gone wrong.
Again, back to the defecation incident. Vinny brought up in this testimony, the gallery laughed during that. No laughs from the jury during that moment.
Not a good day. I don't think it was a good day for Amber Heard today. I really don't, from all the stuff that I'm hearing. All right, Chanley, we'll talk again in a little bit. I'm going to bring in a special guest joining us tonight from Los Angeles, California. Clinical forensic neuropsychologist, associate professor at Pepperdine University, Dr. Judy Ho, back with us. All right, Dr. Judy Ho, let me ask you this question, and it's a very specific question. Why did she write or have someone write this op-ed? Like, why would she do this? This is causing all these problems now. Why do you think she did it? What was going through her mind?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, Vinny, you're absolutely right. This was not a good day for her in court. And I think that Johnny's team is doing a good job of painting her as somebody who is not reliable, who shouldn't be trusted. Maybe her intentions are never pure. You can't take her for an honest person. Even when she said that she wanted to help these charities, she, defaulted on her payments. Essentially, they're saying this is a selfish person and you should not trust what she says. Adding to that, of course, is Dr. Curry's testimony that she has these personality conditions, and certainly personality conditions can be treated, but that was not the focus of Dr. Curry's testimony. Dr. Curry's testimony was saying this is the kind of person who would go and trigger Johnny Depp into acting like his worst part of himself. So why did she write this op-ed? What is going through her head? It's possible that she was just very short-sighted at the time. She had this big movie coming out. There were people who were saying, this might be a good time to go public with your personal story. And I think that the view of her is going to be that she'll do anything for a little bit of publicity, a little bit of fame, as opposed to, I'm really doing this and coming forward with this story because I want to help other domestic violence victims. I think that argument is starting to pale in comparison to the one where maybe she's more short-sighted and caring about her celebrity instead. So
to me, for this jury, what may be very important when it comes to that motivation, is it to, and what I think I'm hearing from you is, it's to help herself not necessarily to hurt Johnny Depp, right? Because I think that's the way he's perceiving it, right? Johnny's perceiving it as, she did this to get me. What? We had a settlement. It was supposed to be over, and now she's dragging me back into all of this. He sees it as a personal attack on her. Do you think that that was her intention, or was it merely to, well, maybe I can make myself more famous or a little bit better if I'm a victim and I write this op-ed in this prestigious, Washington Post with the help of the ACLU?
I think that's probably going to be the perception that emerges of her, is that this is somebody who is more selfish in nature, and maybe on the way she's hurting Johnny, but that may not have been her primary objective. She's more thinking, look, there's something that I can do in this situation to perhaps elevate my own status, my celebrity. I think that that is going to be the argument that people are going to fall on. Now, do we know exactly what she was thinking? No, but when you hear this testimony from ACLU, you're thinking, this is not even a person who wrote her own story. Sure, she told it to somebody else, but it's almost like having a ghostwriter. So how do we really feel about that when it's such a personal, deeply hurtful story when you're talking about domestic violence victims? You usually want that to be handled with the utmost of care. And I think the testimony is trying to paint her as somebody who says, this is just a throwaway story, as opposed to something that has so much significance in the lives of people who have been through domestic abuse.
Let me ask you this. For these jurors, and the jurors are mostly young men. It's like I look at the jury and it's like, what? Oh, my sons are in the jury? That's what it looks like, right? So, do they, with this development today, where now they know she didn't even write the op-ed that is the subject of the defamation lawsuit, do they look at her as a fraud, a phony, someone who would lie about writing this, that would lie about anything, perhaps lie about being a victim?
And I think that's going to be the problem. Unfortunately, I think we do have evidence from both sides' testimonies that this is a mutual abuse, that Johnny and Amber both abused one another. But given the events of today, her credibility is going to get knocked down. And unfortunately, that's really bad for other domestic violence victims as well.
But she will have,
that a lot of, yeah.
But she will have an opportunity to testify. What's your take on, she's sitting through all of this, and there's some tough days. There were some good days where Johnny was on cross, but some tough days for her. But then once she gets the case next week, she's going to be first up, we believe. Do you think what you're seeing in the courtroom, she's ready for that moment? She's looking forward to that moment?
I don't know if she's looking forward to it, but I think she's going to have a lot of explaining to do, unfortunately, with everything that has been set up. She's going to have to explain her intention. Why did she allow the ACLU to essentially write this op-ed for her? What was her true experience as a domestic abuse victim? And what was her real intention? Why did she quit those payments? Can she be trusted? I think she's going to have to try to present herself as a trustworthy person, and the jury's going to have to believe her explanation of whatever she lays out in terms of why these things happened the way they did and why she allowed them to happen the way they did.
Dr. Judy Ho, great insight. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon again.
Thank you, Vinny.